a job that you will eventually have to do, and if you want a bump in performance when swapping out your brakes, this PowerStop Z23 Evolution Sport 6-lug front and rear brake rotor and pad kit is a great option when it comes to your 2009 through 2018 Ram 2500. Now this is a perfect replacement and upgrade specifically for daily driving and moderate off-roading or moderate towing applications, making it a great step up from factory without going overboard if you don't need a super high performance choice and want to keep it on the budget-friendly side. Now this is also a full kit, including both the front and rear rotors and pads, which is great if you simply want a full-blown replacement compared to servicing the front and the back at one time or another. Now included in the kit will be 4 rotors and PowerStop's Z23 pads that give your truck the extra stopping power that you may need compared to the worn factory system. Now while this does increase performance, the brakes remain very comfortable due to the virtually no noise design and keep your wheels cleaner for longer with minimal brake dust, which is a huge bonus to cut down on wheel maintenance. Now, in addition to the brake pads, the rotors offer a good amount of benefits as well. They are vented, drilled, and slotted. That is going to keep the system running much cooler compared to other entry-level or OE-style options. Now, the slotting is also essential in cleaning the surface of the dust and gases that build up, maintaining optimal pad contact so you can have a more efficient braking system. Now getting into the construction, starting off with the rotors, these have a cast iron design with a zinc-coated exterior to hold up to weathering and rusting on the surface of the rotor. Now the rounded slots and bevel drill holes are also precise to make the drive much more efficient, or should I say braking much more efficient, and of course they add a sharp appearance to the truck sitting behind whatever wheel that you pair with it. Now the pads also have a ceramic compound infused with a carbon fiber, which is tough and resists excessive wear, which is great for more moderate towing and heavier duty situations. And each of the pads have a dual rubberized shim on the back. And they also include a chamfered and slotted design. As you can see, it's angled on the edges and it's slotted in the middle. That's going to help keep brake noise to a minimum and keep the pads more comfortable compared to something like a high performance pad. Now the kit also comes with everything that you need for the install, including the stainless steel hardware, so there's no questioning when it comes time to put this kit on. Now this kit for the front and back comes in at about $900, which is pretty average in price for an upgraded replacement kit. Now this is a mid-tier choice when it comes to performance, intentionally for the hybrid driver, which in turn doesn't make this your most expensive choice, as I mentioned, being a little bit more budget-friendly than some of those high-performance options, but it still offers a substantial bump in performance over replacement choices with an OE-style design. Now, if that balance is what you're searching for when it comes to replacing your braking system and you're looking for a full kit, then this is a solid option to consider. Now install here is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and should take about 4 hours or so to get the job done, about an hour per corner if you look at it like that. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here to show you how you can bolt this up to your truck step by step. That wraps it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get to the install.
For this install, you will need a ratchet, various size pry tools, caliper compressor tool, 21 and 24 millimeter sockets, 13 and 16 millimeter ratcheting wrenches, and caliper hanger tool, and also not shown here is the jack and jack stands. All right, today we're going to be installing some brakes on our Ram, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory setup, and we'll see you when you get back.
All right, now we're going to take our caliper off. So we have our 2 caliper bolts. They're 16 millimeter bolts. We're going to grab our 16 millimeter ratcheting wrench, take them off. All right, and you just rock your caliper off now. All right, we just hang our caliper out of the way on our spring, and we can take our pads off. If you need to, just get a flathead screwdriver, just gently pry it off. All right, now we're gonna take our caliper bracket off. So we're gonna grab our 1/2-inch ratchet and 24mm socket. Take your bracket off, and then you can slide your rotor off.
Now that we have our factory stuff off, we can begin installing our new setup. And one thing I want to mention before you install your new rotors, you do want to make sure that your wheel hub is pretty clean and free of corrosion so your rotor sits nice and flush. Once you've done that, take our rotor, slide that on. These are labeled for each corner of the vehicle, so we're on our passenger side front. So we've got that one on. Now that we've got our rotor on, we'll grab our caliper mounting bracket and put that on as well. So now we'll get our mounting bracket in position. We'll line that up. We're gonna grab our factory 24mm bolts, put those in place. Get our bottom one in. Now that we have our bolts in position, we'll bring in our 24mm socket on our ratchet and tighten these down. Next, we can install our pads. Now you'll notice we have our new clips in here. You definitely want to change these out. These are very simple. Pop the old ones out, pop the new ones in just like so. Make sure the larger tab is on the outside away from the rotors. We'll get our new pads in position. It's a little bit tricky to slide this in. Bit of a tight squeeze. Pop that in, make sure that sits flush on the rotor. We'll do the same thing for the inner pad. So before you reinstall your caliper, you want to compress the pistons back in all the way to make room for the new rotor and pads. So you got a caliper compressor tool. Ours has already been compressed. You just want to hook this in, squeeze this fully, compress those pistons back in. Now we've got our caliper. Get that reinstalled. Reinstall our 16mm bolts. Bottom one in as well. Now we'll grab our 16mm ratchet wrench and tighten these down.
All right, at the rear, we're gonna take our caliper off. So we're gonna grab our 13mm ratcheting wrench and take our 2 caliper bolts off. All right, we just take our caliper off and just set it up here on the axle. Take our pads off. All right, and then we can take our caliper bracket off with these 2 bolts with our 1/2-inch ratchet and 21mm socket. All right, and now we can just pull our rotor off.
Now we can install our new rear setup. Once again, we've got the correct rotor for our passenger rear corner. Slide this in. Make sure that's fully seated. Once again, we're gonna get our new clips in place. We've got our other ones on. Pop this one in. Sometimes they are a little stubborn. Make sure that's in place. We'll get our caliper bracket on. And we can reinstall our factory 21mm bolts. Do the same for our lower bolt. And we'll grab our 21mm socket and tighten these down. Next, we'll install our pads. Line our ears up. Put those into place. We'll do the same thing for our inner pad. So once again, before you reinstall your caliper, you will want to compress your pistons back in. So you need a caliper compressor tool. Or if you don't have one of these, you can also use a C-clamp or channel locks. Just put something over your pistons so you don't damage them in the process. Hook that in, press that fully, squeeze those in tight. And once you have your pistons compressed, get our caliper back on, reinstall our 13mm bolts. Then we'll grab our 13mm ratcheting wrench and tighten these down. Now once you've completed this side, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Also, you want to remember to torque all of your hardware back down to the manufacturer specifications. And also, before you drive your vehicle, once you're done, make sure to pump the brakes to rebuild your pressure. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our PowerStop Z23 Evolution Sport 8-lug brake rotor and pad kit for the front and rear of your 09 to 18 Ram 2500. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.